Welcome to Blinkers Off with your hosts, Jared Welch and Aaron Halterman.
Good evening. What's up, everybody? I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. It's another edition of Blinkers Off. It is, it's the middle of September now, Halterman. We are really approaching these final preps for both the Breeders' Cup, and not even though the Pennsylvania Derby is not an official prep. In a lot of ways, it is for some of these horses that might be running their last race before the Breeders' Cup. So how we doing, and how we looking forward to this weekend?
Yeah, really 3 weekends left this weekend. And yeah, I do count the Pennsylvania Derby and the Cotillion as a prep race, even though it's not officially, it is for me. And then you got the next weekend, Santa Anita comes back. And then the next weekend, Keeneland comes back. And then it's officially on to the Breeders' Cup. So doing well. We were talking off air. I'm excited for this card at Parx. I think there's too many races, but just skip 2 or 3 or 4 of them, make it like a 12 race card, and I think it's going to be really good for you. It's a lot of really good racing. You just kind of got to wade through some of the, I don't know why they threw all those races on there type of cards, but I'm excited for it.
Yeah, 15. That's right, 15. I had to look for the graphic for the betting Bible. I had to look to see if I had enough numbers to put on there. Thankfully, I did. But yeah, first post is like 10 a.m. Central Time, which is, I love racing, obviously, but it's just too early. It's too long of a day for racing. The last race number 15, ends up going off at 5:30 Central. So you're looking at a 10 to almost 6 day of racing. But like you said, the Gallant Bob, and of course, some of these last, like the Cotillion and Pennsylvania Derby. I mean, these are really good races and really fun races. And, both, I think, at least, I mean, really, even with Barnes being in that, you could argue that all three have, some sort of decent amount of Breeders' Cup type implications.
I think so. I think last year we saw, obviously, the Breeders' Cup distaff winner win the Cotillion. And I think the Gallant Bob always has a chance to produce something, and it might again this year. So, yeah, I think so. Also, the winner of the Pennsylvania Derby should probably go to the Classic. So, look, I think it's pretty good racing. I don't think we really have superstar horses on this card. But sometimes that's okay if you get ones that are still pretty good, but it kind of opens up the betting. And really, when you look at these races, other than maybe one, and we'll talk about it here in a second or whatever, but I think there's a lot of wide open stakes racing on this. And, you don't really see that all that often on these big days. Usually there's a couple that it's going to be pretty hard to beat the favorite. Here, I mean, I think it's pretty wide open, and we'll cover a couple of them for sure. But, I think these races are very competitive.
Yeah, you also have the Princess Rooney, which is an actual Breeders' Cup winning her in at Gulfstream this weekend. So we'll talk a little bit about that race. It's got like half the field is Saffie Joseph, so we'll talk, try to go through that one a little bit. And but yeah, I mean, the racing, and again, I think like not only said the winner, but like whether it be Gosker or Goal Oriented, or I mean, really, Magnitude's back. I mean, you imagine Magnitude kind of rebounding here and kind of putting his name, back into the circle. Maybe, or, of course, Bieza, it's like, I mean, any of these horses win, and it's tough to be like, oh yeah, that horse is now a threat to win the Classic, but at the same time, you also would probably say, well, he probably deserves to be there. I think the horses that would be the most interesting is because like if Bieza wins, you're kind of like, yeah, but we know how this goes. Like once it's going to the Classic, like I don't know if he can rematch with him. And then, in some sense, Gosker is a little bit like that, or goal oriented, because they can't beat journalism and journalism can't beat sovereignty. So it's a little bit of that. Maybe Magnitude, if he were to run off the screen this time, like you'd be like, oh, well, the Travers, that was, I don't know what that was, but maybe he is like super fast. And if he runs in the Classic or the Dirt Mile, whatever, like maybe he could be at the very least a pace threat.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're getting a classic true contender out of the race, right? I do think we'll get an entry, and I think that's kind of what you're looking for. I think it is going to be very intriguing to see goal-oriented Baeza, Gosker, throw in magnitude if you want, just to see if they can kind of take a step. I think all of them are kind of poised to, maybe not magnitude as much. Like, can he just get back to being what he was in the Iowa Derby against a tougher group? Maybe it's the question for him. But with the 6, the 8, and the 9 goal-oriented Baeza, Gosker, it's like, okay, they kind of have shown us they're getting better. They all are real similar. Their last race is pretty similar. Who can take that next step? And that horse that can do that and will do that Saturday will be the winner. But it's hard to determine who's that's going to be. And you also have Big Truz and David of Athens that could take a step as well and be right up there with them. So I don't think we see the classic winner Saturday. But look, I do think this is a very interesting race because we can sit here and say Baeza's getting better, Gosker's getting better, Goal-Oriented's getting better. They just can't beat the big horses. The big horses aren't here. So who's going to be the one that jumps up and does it? That's the big question mark.
Yeah, the storyline of the race is like there's a couple of them. It's like the lower level horses. Can they duplicate what they've done, like you said, the Big Truz in a higher level race, or the horses that can't quite get the job done against these other horses, like just case in point, journalism and sovereignty. Can they finally get the job done in a race that doesn't include them, right? And so I think that's the two storylines. Can one of the and maybe they're not good enough, and maybe it is a Big Truz type horse that wins because we find out, hey, these horses just don't want to win, but that might be the case. That's why you look at the Pennsylvania Derby, and I wasn't like, oh wow, I think Baeza can win here, and then I might be interested in him in the Classic. No, but I do think it's a really fun race because it has a lot of interesting storylines. And listen, they're all. I mean, Gosker's ran 2 winning races. Really his last 2. He's continued to get better with each start. He just had a little bit. He had to run into journalism, unfortunately, both times. Goal-oriented. About fell over in the Preakness, ran better, probably should have won. I mean, had no reason to lose, I thought, in the Haskell. And then Baeza, gosh, I mean, that horse has done, other than the Belmont Stakes, where, I mean, he still finished third, but he didn't run particularly well, in my opinion. He's ran well every time, every race, and yet has no stakes wins. So can he finally break through when some of those horses aren't here? So, yeah, I do think the race has a lot of those storylines and is set up to, at the very least, be exciting.
It should be an exciting race because even if it's not a close race, that means somebody really jumped up and stood out. And then if you get a good close race where it's a couple of horses, 2 or 3 horses coming down and your bets depending on it, it's exciting in that way. I would be shocked if we come out of this race and go, well, that wasn't much, right? I do think we'll see something that's very exciting, whether it's a tight finish or a horse, like I said, step up, actually be that horse to be a little bit better than just good to a little better than good. Maybe go be really, really good. Go be a horse that be like, man, if they could have done that 2 months ago, maybe they would have beaten one of those top horses. So that's what I am kind of curious to see what happens. And like I said, if they all kind of run the same that they've been running, well, it's going to be a nice, fun, close race. It'll be dependent on trips and stuff like that, pace, all that kind of stuff. And, we'll just hope for racing luck and your horse that you pick wins.
We'll talk a little bit about, obviously the implications for this is what this means moving forward and in the Classic, and kind of to the point of the Classic, as we are, 40 some days away from the Breeders' Cup, we're starting to kind of see that the field start to take some sort of shape, and even if it is like where they're pointing, and came out today that they're going to, Whitebaro is going to shoot for the Dirt Mile. Now, I think the Dirt Mile might be one of the more interesting, tough races of the, at least it's like 40 horses that are pointing the Dirt Mile. It feels like, because everyone is shifting from, hey, I don't want to go. We can't run in this horse in the Classic, And so what do? We run on the Dirt Mile. So that's one thing. Nysos, a horse that since his injury, since his scratch, he's just MIA, right? Towards it. He may not even, and again, when it happened, we're like, yeah, we may never see that horse again. Seems like that's quite possible. He has not had a work since It's particularly bad whenever you say, well, no, it's fine. Like we're going to just pivot to the Goodwood, go to the Classic, we're good. And then the horse has not been seen since, hasn't even been galloping. So I think he's in a bad spot. It's funny how I still think the race could be very, very good, especially with Sovereignty versus Fierceness, and the older horses. But the more we go, Halterman, the closer we get, it kind of keeps feeling like, oh, it's Sovereignty, and then there's this mess of horses underneath them.
I think the Classic is last year's top horses that were finished 1, 2, 3, but now throw Sovereignty into it. That's kind of how I look at it. And because like Mindframe was a horse we were really excited about, but who really knows how that's going to go? I don't know that he's going to run again or not. He is nominated next week for a race, but they've said he's probably not going to run. So, that's one that you were excited about. And now it's kind of like, we're going to bet him in the Classic off of a race where he lost the jockey. I mean, no fault of his own, but it's kind of a weird situation. Maybe he runs again and kind of gets that hype going a little bit more and wins and you feel a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, as you look at it current day, it's Sierra Leone Fierceness, Forever Young, the 1, 2, 3 finish of last year, they're all coming back. And then you add Sovereignty into the race. So it's still a great race. I think it's better than last year still, if that's what we get, but it's not like an all timer, unless, like I said, we get a couple more horses to be really excited about. I think Fierceness kind of dominating journalism, that hurt the journalism. Hey, he may turn the tables hype a little bit because you're kind of coming into it like, hey, he's coming to my home track now, Sovereignty, and we'll get him. But then like, he's not really competitive with Fierceness. It's like, wait a second, he may not be good enough. So that's kind of a loss of luster as well. Also, the Dirt Mile reminds me so much of the Pat Day Mile every single year. Every year heading into the Pat Day Mile, we say it's going to be amazing, and they draw it, and it's not very good. It's the same with the Dirt Mile. Name me the last time we've had a hell of a Dirt Mile field. It's usually 1 to 2 really good milers and a bunch of also-rans, or it's a bunch of very mid horses. And I will hear this hype, I'm sure, for the next 6 weeks. I bet when we draw it, it's either a bunch of mid horses or one horse that's 3 to 5, one that's 6 to 5, and the rest of them are 8 to 1 or higher. That's my prediction on the Dirt Mile.
I feel like the Dirt Mile every year, it's shaping up to be really good. And then, like you say, then it turns into like one horse that's really, really good still. But then everyone else is kind of like, okay. Because then they start to say, well, we're not going to, there's no way we can win that one either. And then they, they kind of scatter. But yeah, like I think Mindframe, out of anyone, and like I'm going to be very interested to see what his price is. Like, where's the balance for me with Mindframe of I'm not going to, I'm not interested in him too, where like I am very interested in him because the price is going to be 10 to 1, or whatever. So I think he's going to be very interesting as far as for me goes to how I want to bet him, if I want to bet him. But the more this race gets, the closer we get to this race, it's like there's one thing that's holding true, and it's Sovereignty, right? Like he just feels like a complete standout. And even like the Fierceness, like you never know what you're going to get with him, although he can win because he's talented enough. Sierra Leone, he won it last year, but I don't think anybody would go in that race and be like, he can do it. Like I'm confident he's going to do it. Maybe he will, and so Mindframe again, if he doesn't run again, who knows, right? What he is. I mean, we know he's good, but it's just lots of big ass for a horse like that. And journalism seems tired. We know he can't face or can't handle Sovereignty. We've seen that many, many times now. And then everybody else just is kind of, Antiquarian's nice, Highland Falls is nice, but it's like it'd be kind of it'd be somewhat surprising if one of those horses were to pop up and win the race. I don't know. It just feels like the one horse, the closer we get, the one non-question mark I have is how good Sovereignty is going to run. So,
no, 100%. Yeah, 100%. And, like on the Mindframe situation, it's not so much, he lost the jockey, I don't bet those horses next out. No, I mean, he didn't have anything to do with it. It's more of the last time he finished a race with a jockey on him was in June, and now he has to go win the Breeders' Cup Classic in November. That's not easy to do for any horse, especially one that you're still not quite sure he's good enough to win it, right? That's the other thing. If he was an absolute star or had shown races, was like, yeah, he can no doubt win it, then it's like, okay. But now it's like, boy, I don't know. Now, the flip side of it is he's probably going to be like 15 to 1. So you are going to get kind of that. You're going to get paid for that opinion if you're right, more so than you would have. But it is a tougher ask for sure.
Would you just, I mean, again, it's impossible. We're so far out, but like say it's coming to race day, which, we see the odds. Would you, and nothing else has changed. We don't see Fierceness again. We don't see Mind Frame again. Would you rather play Mind Frame at 15 to 1 or Fierceness at 8 to 5?
I wouldn't play Fierceness at 8 to 5 ever in any race. So I would have to take Mind Frame. Now, if Fierceness is 6 to 1, I would take Fierceness.
Realistically, I don't think. I mean, he's not going to be 8 to 5. I don't think he's going to be 6 to 1 either. I think he'll be 3 to 1 or something.
And I just look at Fierceness like this from now on and really forever, except I got fooled a couple times, the Whitney being the big one. But I feel like with him, you bet him when he's a big price if you're going to bet him to win. And then on your pick 4s and pick 5s, just throw him in there.
Don't even handicap him.
I don't care if it makes mathematically sense for your tickets or whatever. Put him in there.
Yeah.
Because his best can win. You don't want to be knocked out. That's what I did Pacific Classic Day. Mike Samich was going, you can't play journalism and fierceness. I said, I understand that Twitter tells you can't do that. And I understand mathematically you can't do that. I said, we're also not robots. We're human beings. And I know he will win if he runs well. So I'm not going to lose. I don't care. I'm not going to do it every day. But there are circumstances where you go, well, this is just one of those things. I can't, I can't just toss him and be like Magic and say he sucks and I'm tossing him in public and then get slammed for it, right? Because it's not smart to single him and it's not smart to say he has no chance. So that's just where you have to live, and you just have to swallow that. Yes, mathematically, it doesn't make sense to use the 2 favorites in a pick 5, but when it's him, I'm going to do it, and I don't really care what anybody else says.
He's such a weird horse in a sense that, everything. There's so many instances, and we have it's not even it's like one-time thing. We have a data point with him now.
Yeah.
We've seen him enough where when things have gone perfectly right with him in a race, he stops. And when everything goes against him in a race, he wins. And so there's not even like, oh, well, the pace is, brutal for him, or he's going to get behind horses. It's not going to be a good situation. No, it's what I mean. Like nothing about him makes any sense, but we do know. And the one thing we do know for sure is that when he runs well, he can win any race in North America, really. So for that reason, I'm with you. And I don't like it either. I don't love doing it, but I also know that he's such a outlier that you just have to say, forget it, throw him in. If whatever your ticket was looking like, make sure you include him and move on. And I also don't have, I'll be the first to say, I don't have the stones to have that mindset of like, hey, I'm going to single him either, because that's insane at this point. I mean, maybe
it's not stones. It's stupidity. At this, I mean, it really is. I hate to be like that, but it is. And I know somebody's listening to this and they're sitting out there going, well, I've singled him and I won with him, so I disagree. Great, you got lucky. And I don't even say that to be like, I'm not trying to put people down. What I'm saying is, anytime you get him right, you got lucky. I've got him right a few times. I got lucky. It had nothing to do with me, because it's just, that's who he is, right? And I've got him wrong a lot as well, so that is just kind of who that horse is. You can't really predict what he's going to do. We've tried. We've kind of said, okay, we know now you can't bet him when he's on the rail. And then he breaks from the rail, tries to jump the auxiliary rail, dirt in the face, wins for fun in a big time race. So it's like, he's not a predictable horse, right? Other horses that are inconsistent, you can kind of tell when they're going to not fire and when they are. That's just, I don't want to rant about him forever, but that's who he is. So just take who he is, and there you go.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if you do, following that logic, if you just played him every time, I mean, you're probably going to end up about even. You'll win some, you'll lose some. You won't know when you're going to do either one.
And that's who he is.
Yeah.
You are going to win and lose with him. There's no doubt about that.
There's just some days where he's not doing it, and Clearly, we do know he likes Del Mar. That seems to be somewhat confirmed. I mean, but again, who knows? But he's ran well there. So, he certainly. Again, I'll just be the first to tell you. I don't even need to look. I mean, I think Sovereignty is a standout. I love him so much, but there's zero chance that I'm not playing. That I'm not gonna not include Fierceness. So.
Yep. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Unfortunately, that's how it is, because if he fires a huge shot, he is the horse that is very scary, I think, for Sovereignty, because he's going to be ahead of him and he'll fire. And Sovereignty, he hasn't had a horse or a really good speed horse be ahead of him and then fire down the lane, right? They're usually backing up for him. I think he can catch Fierceness regardless, but he might not be able to. I will be the first to admit that. He might not.
If there was ever a horse, and we know how Fierceness can get, he'll quit faster than any horse in America will quit some races. If there's any horse that can make a horse quit, you would think it's Sovereignty is the look of a horse that can just, if he starts breathing down your neck, you're like, no, not doing that one today. And so, listen, I don't think we don't really know with him. We've seen journalism face Fierceness, some of the older, but haven't seen what Sovereignty can do yet. Don't think it's going to be a problem, but again, you don't know until we see it. But that'll be fun. Again, we'll have more to talk about as this thing gets closer, but let's get in to see who might be facing him in the Classic. So we'll look at this weekend at Parx. We're going to look at the $1 million Pennsylvania Derby and the $1 million Cotillion Stakes. Not Breeders' Cup races, but essentially they are. Then we're going to look at some really all our analysis of the race and who we think could come and emerge through both of those to make their way to the Classic and or the Distaff. Then we're going to look at Gulfstream Park's Princess Rooney, which is a Breeders' Cup winning or in challenge event. Let's go. Yeah, let's do it. It's an evening show, Shoddy.
Yeah, it's funny on Fierceness, you're talking about him kind of quitting, which he does quit a lot. Our buddy Paul texted me once. He's like, he's just gutless, and I was like, no, that's not it, because I've seen that horse dig down deep. You know what I mean? I was like, and a gutless horse doesn't dig down deep every once in a while, right? So he just does whatever he wants, I think, is the answer.
I'm done trying to figure him out. Let's put it that way. I don't know. I can't, it is actually after the Pacific Classic where I honestly just shook my head, and I was by myself at home, and I was like, I can't with this horse anymore.
Yeah.
Like everything went wrong. And in fact, like him even going out there was just like, what are they doing? And again, that was Nisos was supposed to be there, and he scratched, and it's like, well, I just don't think there's any way, right? And they fucked up the whole thing because he did run him in the Whitney, and then he was the disaster. Should have ran mine for him, whatever. And then he goes out there and veers off at the beginning behind everything. You're just like, what a joke! This is an absolute just disaster. And then he goes and wins and wins, like looked amazing. And you're just like, I don't know. I have no idea. Everything that could have gone wrong did go wrong, and he went across the country and won. So
yeah, we've been doing this a long time now. We've never had a horse for 2 straight years now. We've talked about like this, because usually you talk about this for a little bit and they get it straightened out, or they just go backwards. No, he's still two straight years now of this. So
he fooled us too. He fooled all of us, because it looked like at the beginning of this year, you're like, all right, he's figured it out. Well, actually, it was at the end of last year into this year where the Classic, the Travers, the Classic, and then, coming into this year, like, oh, yeah, like, look, he's got it. Like, he's starting to figure it out. He's got those guts that you wished he had, earlier in the season. And then, the Met Mile happened. You're just kind of like, didn't love that, but, maybe just ran into a monster that day. And then the Whitney happened. You're like, no, he's back. That motherfucker's back. Like, I hate that horse.
That's, other than Derby Day, that's the maddest I've ever been at a horse was Whitney Day this year, because I can't stand horses like that. They look like you're going to romp and then they stop. But anyway.
Yeah.
We have plenty of time to talk about him. So.
Oh, listen, if we can just get, I know some of these horses, whether they're pointing the dirt mile or not even working out or whatever, if we can just get him and Sovereignty and then some of these other, horses, Bieza or the Sierra Leone, who shows up for all of them. Give him credit. He shows up to all of them. Give a bunch of these coming in. But if we can get Fierceness and Sovereignty, that's going to get a lot of talking points, those two, for sure. So that will make the build-up for the race pretty exciting. But all right, guys, let's head to Parx. But before we do, just go check out the website at racingdudes.com. You go get the Pennsylvania Derby Betting Bible. It is available. The final version is available right now for sale over on the website. You can see there on the homepage. You can find it right there in the middle of the homepage. We also have a tab on the main menu now that you can go access not just the Betting Bible, but learn more about it. It's under the picks section. So everything you need to learn more, just hit premium and then see Betting Bible, or go to the premium page and you can find out more. Everything you need to know about the Betting Bible. It's becoming that time of the year, guys, to become a premium subscriber, because we do these Betting Bibles at least once a month, and you get them for free if you're a premium subscriber. So the Breeders' Cup coming up, obviously, besides the Kentucky Derby, this is the biggest Betting Bible we do every year, both days. So you'll have that access if you are a premium subscriber to our picks, any of our premium picks. Go to the website, racingdudes.com, to learn more and get your hands on that Pennsylvania Derby Betting Bible. All right, let's stick with the Cotillion for now. This is race 13 on the program, Saturday at Parx. $1 million, grade 1, mile and 16th for the fillies, 3-year-olds. Field of 8 lines up here, and listen, we got the Oaks winner in here at 5-2. Good cheer. And then you've got, it's a nice field. Scottish Lassie looked amazing last out. You Lucara, who's has her days where she runs huge, and then some new shooters that look kind of interesting as well. So, what do you think of the Cotillion?
Yeah, it's a really, really fun race. It's a tricky race to handicap for sure, because not to the level of fierceness, but you have very inconsistent horses. The first two there, Scottish Lassie and Lucara. Scottish Lassie last time out in the Coaching Club American Oaks, if she shows back up with that race, it's over. This race is done. And Scottish Lassie's going to win for fun. The problem is we've seen her do this. She did it last year as a 2-year-old. She ran off the screen in a stakes race, and then she looked very average for about 3 races there before she ramped back up and did it last time out. So can she put two straight races together? If she can, I think she's the winner. Lucara, kind of hasn't reached the height of the dominant effort of Scottish Lassie, but still can show dominant efforts at times and can show clunkers at times. So hard to get a read for me on those two. I went back to the consistent horse. I went to number 7, Good Cheer, on top in this one. 7 out of 9 lifetime. Look, 7 straight wins. Caught the sloppy track at Saratoga. I don't really even count that. That was just a kind of a joke of a race. The race last time out for Good Cheer does bother me a bit. A horse that really didn't make up any ground, didn't have a lot of pace to run into, but still I thought would run a little bit better in the stretch. Could not catch nitrogen. I really think 1.25 miles may have not been her thing. We go back to 1 mile and a 16th now. That's where her best races have happened, if you look. And then also, I think there's a lot of pace in here, and I do think it sets up well for Good Cheer because of that pace, because of the distance. So give me number 7, Good Cheer, on top.
Yeah, Good Cheer, it kind of had the look of a horse. It felt like that would like going long. And I think, no shocker, right? Did win the Oaks at 1 mile and 1/8. But yeah, since then has not ran well this summer. Obviously stretching out. Mile 16th, you would think would help. She's 5 for 5 there, the distance. The one thing about her that and again, it's hard to be too, it's hard to shit on a horse that's 7 for 9 lifetime. Yeah. And literally one clunker out of all of them. It's just that she just hasn't improved all year. She's ran the same. She was running these same races as she early in her, even her 2-year-old year, where she was running these high 80 buyers, and now she's running like high 80, low 90 buyers. She's not bad, but you said it right. Consistent. You know what you're going to get with her. Like, she's going to bring her race every time. She's a little bit, I think I even said something after that last race, like she's like the Sierra Leone of the Philly side, where she's just kind of like, she runs her race. Sometimes she's not fast enough to get there. So I think she's in with a big shot. But I just, and you're right with Scottish Lassie. I mean, it's if she runs that very last race, then they're all going to be running for second. Again, you don't know what you're going to get with her. I went with the horse just to her outside, number 2, Lucara. That's a horse I've probably burned more money than I would like to admit on. But you look at the past performances of this horse, and she does one thing and one thing well, and she's consistently inconsistent. She runs like a big race, and then she runs not such a good race, and then she runs a big race, then she runs not such a good race. Well, but look on that cycle, she is due to run a big race. I do think the mile 16th will be great for her, and I think this track will be great for her to run, to be up, forwardly placed and have some pace ahead of a horse like Good Cheer, who I'm just not sold on as far as getting there. So I think the question mark here is what you're going to get out of the 1 and 2. Is the 1 going to go crazy and perhaps soften up Lucara a little bit? That's my only concern with her. But I think on her best day, Lucara, that is, she is capable of beating every one of these horses.
Yeah, I think you make a really good point on the pace. The 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, to me, all look like they can go. Will they all go? And is there one out of those 4 that it might just be a little faster and can get out in front of them anyway, even if they all go, right? I think Lucara is a pretty good candidate to be on the lead. It's just, for me, it's a question of, is she making that lead going pretty darn fast, or does she get comfortable? Maybe everybody's seeing the same thing we are as far as the jockeys are concerned, and they kind of are a little conservative, and Dylan Davis sends Lucara and she gets that lead. We've seen crazier things, that's for sure. So I think she's a threat. I'm with you. She's a very hard horse to get right, but it does seem like the pattern says she's going to run big here. And look, I think if let's say she can go 47 to the half and she's a length ahead, I think she's very dangerous in the spot.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, she's the fastest horse in the race. But,
yes,
again, like you said, maybe she doesn't break well. Or the 1 is just, dead set on, hey, we're going, not looking back, no matter what, I want the lead. And, then, Lucara has to sit off or force her to go even faster to try to keep the lead. And then that's when the race could unfold. Now, having said that, I'm not totally convinced that even if that happens, that Good Cheer can get her slow ass up to the finish line in first. Like, does she have the umph to finish this thing off? Maybe that mile 16th will do it, though.
Yeah, I think you're hard on her for sure. I think
I'm not bitter about losing money on her at all. So
I really, you hate to keep making excuses for horses. I will say that right off the bat when I start this, but the race 2 back is a total toss. And I think even you would agree with that.
Yeah.
The race last time out, I just got to think the 1.25 miles, it wasn't really what she wanted to do. And honestly, I don't think any of them in that race wanted to do it very well. Even Nitrogen was kind of all over the place. So I did not like Good Cheer's last race. So I'm with you there, but it's just not a normal race. The fillies only run that distance pretty much once, and that is the Alabama. Most of them, 90% of them, they just don't do it again, right? So I think just getting back to the right distance will help. The other big part of it for me, I would not have picked Good Cheer, but I am just very worried the pace is going to be hot. And I think if it's hot, she's got a big shot. So again, if I see Lucara or Scottish Lassie get out in front and go 47 to the half, I don't really think Good Cheer is going to win. And so I just project they're going to go a little bit faster. So I took her. I never dreamed after the Kentucky Oaks I would get to the Cotillion and not be real confident in Good Cheer. You know what I mean? But I am picking her, but I'm not. That confidence is not there. I was more confident on Kentucky Oaks Day than I am here at the Cotillion.
Yeah. What did you think about the 4 Indy Bay? I thought this was a pretty interesting horse for Safi, who, has only been sprinting, and the longest that she's gone is 7 furlongs, but she's looked really good doing it. And both her 7 furlong races, she kind of extended late in the race. This is one to me that if she does stretch out okay, she could be tough.
Yeah, I've got that horse in second, actually.
Oh, wow.
I really like that she showed a lot of speed in those sprint races, but she didn't have to go to the front. I think she might go to the lead because she's going out of those sprint races to the routes. But also, if she doesn't get it, I do feel good about the fact that I think she'll sit just behind because she's done it chasing other sprint horses as well. So I got her in second. I like her in the spot. Wouldn't be shocked at all. I just the question mark is the distance for sure, but I think going a mile 16th, this horse can do it. I don't know if we can go any further than that, but I like the 4 Indy Bay. I think that's a long shot that makes a ton of sense. I think the 3 is a longer price that makes a lot of sense too.
Yep, I like that one a little bit as well. Numbers are pretty slow there on her, and that was a little bit of a concern of mine. Gotta like that IRAD. I assume had the opportunity to ride either with the 3 or the 4, based on the past. Has ridden her on each of those, but it's opted to run on the right on the 3, so I think that's a good sign there as well. But yeah, all right. So give me the 2 here. You're going Good Cheer. I mean, is it like we'll talk about the Pennsylvania Derby coming up next? Any implications? The distaff is certainly a little more. This staff is similar to the Classic in a sense that you have Torpedo Anna versus like Sovereignty, but I would definitely say she's not as overwhelming lock of a horse, and I wouldn't say Sovereignty's a lock, but you know what I mean. That fear of you're not putting a lot of fear into these other horses necessarily. Do you have any of these horses in here that you think could make a run in the distaff?
Yeah, it's a good question because I do think it's more of a wide open race. It's not quite as top heavy, although it's pretty good. Look, if Scottish Lassie runs off the screen again, I think you have to start taking that one serious, right? The other ones, I'm just not sure that they're good enough. I think the older horses in this division are a little bit better than the 3-year-olds overall, unless you see another freak performance from Scottish Lassie.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this horse, Scottish Lassie, has not one but 2 races, grade 1 races. This horse has won by basically 10 plus lengths. That tells you she's got talent. She did, and one of them was at Saratoga last out, like you mentioned. So, yeah, if she can rattle off another grade 1 here and do it somewhat convincingly, then yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know that I would pick her to win the distaff, but I think you would have to take her seriously. Now, even if Lucara wins here, which is my pick, I think I would hold my breath a little in the distaff because it's kind of like she feels like the kind of horse that on the right day, right setup, right everything she can win one of these, but not necessarily just because of pure talent. Good Cheer, maybe. I don't know. I mean, Good Cheer is going to have to run a race she hasn't ran yet. I feel, and I don't know that that's going to happen in the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't have a lot of interest in her unless she comes up here and runs huge and it's like, oh, okay. But I'm with you on that one.
All right. I've got the 2 Lucara. You got the 1 Scottish Lassie to win the grade 1 Cotillion, race number 13 at Parx. All right, race 14, the very next race. We'll head to the Pennsylvania Derby, the main event of the day. Grade 1, $1 million, mile and 8 for the 3-year-olds, field of 10. Lines up here, headlined by your favorite, Bieza at 2-1, 5-2 on Goal Oriented, Gosker at 4-1, and Magnitude at 6-1. Everybody else is 10-1 or higher. So the main 4 come into this race all off of a different kind of aspect, different type of horses. Bieza, obviously, and Gosker ran in the Triple Crown. Oriented showed up once there, and Magnitude was waiting till the summer basically to kind of make his big splash and faltered really bad in the Travers. Where we going, man?
Yeah, this is a really, really fun race. I enjoyed handicapping this one. I like these horses. One of these horses is certainly going to get this grade 1, and they deserve it. When you look at goal-oriented Bieza, Gosker, they deserve it. And listen, Big Truz, David of Athens, even Magnitude, throw him in there as well. They definitely deserve this grade 1 victory. I think you got to make the decision. Am I going to take what I believe will be about 7-5 on Bieza? are you going to take it and just say, hey, he's the class? Or are you going to say, you know what? He hasn't been winning. Let's try somebody else. Maybe somebody's getting a little bit better and can match him. I went against Baeza in this one, and I went to Bob Baffert's runner here, the number 6, Goal Oriented on top for me. Look, I like this horse. I've liked this horse from the beginning. I thought the debut was good. I thought his next race was good as well. The Preakness, hey, he got body checked. Maybe it was his fault. Maybe it wasn't. I think it was his fault for the record, but it doesn't matter. That race got ruined when that happened there. The Haskell, I thought he ran great. I really don't have an explanation for why he let Gosker go ahead of him when he looked like he was going to beat him pretty much the whole stretch until he didn't. That is troubling when you think about that. And I will admit that, but he's got the feel of me, the one that's going to get better. Baffert skipped the Travers, pointed for this race because I think he knew I can't go in the Travers. I can go win here. I'm going to get him as good as possible. I think Goal Oriented's going to run the best race of his career. I love that Irad gets aboard. So give me Baffert and give me the number 6, Goal Oriented on top.
You know what's so fun about this race is, funny maybe, is the fact that out of all these horses, so like Magnitude, Magnitude's only the one that's only lost Sovereignty once, but the other 3, Goal Oriented and Gosker and Baeza, have all lost to either Sovereignty and or Journalism multiple times, right? Multiple times. Gosker's lost to Journalism multiple times. Goal Oriented has lost to Journalism multiple times. Baeza's lost to Sovereignty and Journalism multiple times. Like, it's just like clockwork, right? And so the question mark becomes, which one of these horses is not as good as we thought, and which one of these just needed relief from those 2 horses? And that's what's going to be so interesting about this race, particularly in the stretch run. Listen, I'm Baeza should win. Let me preface it with that. Baeza, based on everything I've said it all season, there's the 3 best horses in the 3-year-old division are in the order they keep finishing in is Sovereignty, Journalism, Baeza, right? That's just every race they run the same thing. My issue is if playing him at say 2-1 on a horse that hasn't won anything since February, and that was the maiden special weight. That's a concern in a grade 1. So, and it's not like, there's no Sovereignty in Journalism, but I don't think Gosker is bad. I don't think Goal Oriented is bad. Magnitude on his best day certainly is not bad. So I'm playing against Baeza. I'll use Baeza, but I'm not going to play him on top. Listen, I'm with you guys. He should win. Like, if he is what we've been saying he is or think he is, this is the race you got to go win, right? You have to win this race here if you are Baeza in order to kind of confirm those thoughts, in my opinion. I went with the 9, Gosker. Listen, I didn't think I would when I went into the race. You look at Goal Oriented, you look at Gosker. They both are kind of in the same boat in a sense of like, hey, they've ran those races and then they've gotten beat, but by better horses. Journalism. The one difference is that Gosker has continued to run each and every race better than the last. I'll admit I liked him in the Lexington, but even after the Lexington, I thought, I don't know. I just don't know that he's quite good enough to be like a grade 1 type horse. And what he damn near won. Probably should have won the Preakness. Looked really good in the Haskell. Again, you mentioned Goal Oriented. Both of those did. Somehow managed to outfinish Goal Oriented. I'm not sure how either. But he's done nothing but improve each and every start. And I think you could say the same with Goal Oriented, even though his numbers kind of dipped a little bit in the Preakness, but he kind of, he damn near fell over, right? Whether it was his fault or not. I think it's between Gosker and Goal Oriented for me of how I want to bet the race. And Gosker is 4-1. He's, according to Walsh, he's a different horse than he was earlier in the summer. He looks better. He's bigger. He's grown. All these horses have, right? You're in the later half of the 3-year-old year. So give me the 9 Gosker. I think he's going to run a good, solid race, and I think the setup is there for him.
I love Gosker in this spot as well. He will not beat me on any multi-races or any exactas or tries. I'll tell you that right now. I think he's the most improved horse in the country this year for the 3-year-old division. Look, the Preakness was a good race for him for sure, but he really sold me last time out in the Haskell. I thought he ran tremendous. Look, I think he's got a huge shot. I think it's a really good pick. And look, I just feel like and tell me if I'm crazy. I feel like if we're going to say out of the big, let's say quote unquote big 3, let's leave magnitude out for a second. I want to talk about him, but let's talk about just the 6, the 8, and the 9. Out of goal-oriented Baeza and Gosker, I think goal-oriented and Gosker have a right to improve more so than Baeza. And that is where I struggle to take a short price because they're real similar by the numbers, right? And I don't know that. I think Baeza is who he is, and it might be good enough to win. It might be good enough to win for sure. I will say that. I don't know that he's a standout in this field, though. And I think these other 2 horses that we're picking have a better chance to improve than he does.
Yeah, and the thing I kept going back to when I was trying to decide between the 9 and the 6 for me, as far as my win, was like. And again, like the Preakness is kind of an outlier, but even in the Preakness, I never thought even before the issue, I never thought goal oriented looked like a winner, right? Like
Yep.
he obviously had issues, and maybe he obviously could have ran way better depending on what happened there. But the thing about Gosker that kind of made me decision, like all his races he's looked like a winner until he didn't, right? I mean, even in the Haskell where he was battling with Gorented, either one of those 2 could have won that race. Neither one of them did, by the way. But they both looked like winners. Certainly in the Preakness, he looked like a winner, like he just was cruising on his own. Lexington, he won, made a special weight, he won. So he's done nothing but look like a winner and improve with each start. So I think he's super dangerous in that aspect. And again, I think that the setup is going to be really good for him because I do expect this thing to be pretty quick. David of Athens, I wanted to mention him because I'm not like I like to look at workouts. I don't take them for much when it comes to the race day, but for what it's worth, David of Athens, whatever that last work was, David of Athens and this one Gosker, stablemates worked out together, and I thought David of Athens looked great, right? I thought he outworked Gosker, but again. There's so many factors there that it's hard. You can't just say one or the other, but he put up a bullet work, and I thought he looked really good. Gosker did too, but I did think between the 2 from the work only that David of Athens looked the best, and he's 12-1. So did you have any thought on him?
Yeah, I think he's the logical long shot in the race. And let's not forget, he's the one that did beat Patch Adams on debut, going the distance that Patch Adams wants to run, right? And this horse beat him. He had an injury. He came back, and he didn't look very good off that layoff. But then second start off the layoff, he looked very good. If you want to play a price, I think he's the one. Yeah, for sure. I agree.
What do you think you're going to see out of him? Because I thought that was the other thing I couldn't quite figure out is, do you think because he's in the race and he is a stablemate of Gosker, and Gosker is certainly he can go forwardly placed, but he'll probably sit off of it, especially in the 9-hole. That last race he went gate to wire. Do you think that the David of Athens is going to try to do that here?
I think so. After that success last time out, I think he'll be forwardly placed. I don't know if he'll get the lead or not because a horse named Magnitude is here, but I think that's what they'll do. I think they'll try to send him. And I do think that is going to help Gosker and Baeza and goal oriented because they all can kind of stalk, right? So I think they're just going to let Magnitude, David of Athens kind of go. Moplex, I think, might be ahead of them as well. And they're just going to kind of be right there, letting those horses get tired, and then they take over. I think that's going to be the strategy. And I think that's how, to answer your question, I think that's what David Athens will do. I think he'll be up towards the front. Now, is there a world where, again, kind of like we talked about, there looks like speed, but sometimes when there's a lot of speed, one horse is just a little faster than everybody else, and they'll still be able to take it gate to wire because they're the speed of the speed. I would be surprised if that's David of Athens, but we've seen weirder things happen. So I do like this horse. If not in this race, there is a race down the road where I think he's going to gonna be pretty prevalent.
Yeah, we mentioned Scottish Lassie in the last race, kind of like, hey, if she runs that her last effort from the CCA, like she's probably, there's no way she loses here. And honestly, I feel a little bit like that about Bieza if he runs that Jim Dandy race, because I thought he ran spectacular in that day, and Sovereignty just ate him up. But he ran great. Now it was a smaller field, and he's much further placed because of that. But I thought he ran great that day, and if he could duplicate that race here, they are all going to have their hands full with him. Now, that I wanted to make sure I said that because I do think we don't know, right? But he gave it's in Sovereignty's like streak here. He gave Sovereignty the closest scare, and it wasn't really close. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. He ran fantastic in that race. It is kind of, when you watch it back, you're like, yeah, he did, but Sovereignty was kind of like not tuned up all the way.
Exactly. That's what you also have to remember. That was not Sovereignty was just coming in that race ready for getting ready for the Travers.
It still beat him pretty easy at the end. But yeah, that speaks more towards Sovereignty than it does bad on Baeza. That's for sure. I think I don't want to talk. If you're sitting here and you're like, oh, I've got Baeza single, these guys are crazy. I don't think that's the absolute worst thing you can do, because there is certainly a world where he gets away from Sovereignty and journalism and he just dominates. Like, that could totally happen. My other problem is I've never been as high on Baeza as you and John have been. And so, like, I didn't pick him in any of those races, right? And I never really fully believed in him. Now he's proven me wrong. He's been a lot better than I thought he was going to be, 100%. So, but he also hasn't beat me either, right? So, there's that as well. I think we have to touch on magnitude for a second.
Yes. How surprised were you when you saw him entered here?
I'm glad you asked, because I asked Samich the same thing. I said, how surprised were you when you opened up the entries and saw magnitude? And he was like, very. I was like, me too. Very surprised. He ran so bad in the Travers. It was a candidate for, we may not see him for a while. Like, something had to have went wrong.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that he is entered here tells me something little went wrong and caused him to stop that day. And maybe they think that's not going to happen this time. Also, you're cutting back to a mile and a 16th. Maybe that'll help him. Or excuse me, I'm sorry, a mile and an eighth. And maybe that'll help him a little bit as well. Because that's where he did, kind of the breakout race in the Risen Star was a mile and an eighth. So can he get the lead? And can he get an easy lead? And can he do it against horses that are better? Because the Risen Star and the Iowa Derby, those horses weren't as good as these. That's the big question mark. There's a world where he can take him gate to wire. He's not for me, but I wouldn't hate it. And I just think if you picked him to beat Sovereignty, I think you got to wheel back and try it here in this race. I'm not in that camp that did that. But if you're out there and you did, I don't think you can let him beat you here, right? I think you kind of just have to say, well, let's try it one more time and see what happens. I would almost rather him run like he did in the Travers than get beat 4 or 5 lengths in the Travers. And you go, well, he's just not good enough. Yeah. That last race, we learned nothing. Like, he bracket buster past this horse like he was standing still. That's not, he's better than that.
The weird part, the only thing I could think of is he just didn't get a hold of the track ever, because even early in the race he didn't look good. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, it wasn't like, oh man, like, distance got him or whatever, the pressure of these horses on him. Like, they ran 47. He can run 46 in his sleep, right? Yeah. Like, it was just very strange the way he never separated and never you just knew, like, the whole way around. You're like, yeah, there's no way, this horse. Even when I look back at, not necessarily the video, but when you look at the form, you're like, how did that horse? I'm shocked. Like, even back the day of, I'm like, because such a performance by Sovereignty, you're like, who got third, and you're like, wait, Magnitude held on for third. I didn't think there was, granted, he was like 20 lengths back for third, but still, I was shocked that he even held on for third. And it shows how bad the rest of that field was, honestly. But here's the thing. Here's where I'm at with Magnitude. I don't think he is nearly as bad as he was last time. And I don't think he's as good as kind of the numbers showed that he was in the Risen Star in the Iowa Derby. I think he's somewhere in between. Because the numbers that he put up in those two races were like Sovereignty-esque numbers, right? And that's going into the Travers. That's why I was like, oh shit, Magnitude he might be for real. Like this could be the threat to Sovereignty, right? This could be the horse. And obviously that didn't happen. So I do think he's somewhere in between. On the right day, the right track, the right situation, I think Magnitude certainly could go gate to wire. I don't think it's here.
Yep, I agree with you. I don't think it's here either. I think he is still interesting. I wouldn't be totally shocked if he does it, but I'm with you. Brett made a comment, she said Pratt off by Aza ? I think it's one of those situations where Hector Berrios has just kind of ridden him a little better than Flavien Prat, which is a weird thing to say. And I know that's a crazy statement. And I would always take Flavien Prat over anybody for that matter. But you watch what this horse has done under Berrios. I think he responds a little bit better to him. I think Berrios puts him in a little bit better spot. So honestly, and I have no idea like the actual facts of it, but I think Sheriffs was a little bit upset with Pratt after the Belmont. And I think he said, I'll just go back to my guy here and we'll ride it out. Right. I feel like that's what it is more than anything else.
Pratt's already got his classic mount anyways. So he's like, I don't need a horse for that race.
Yeah.
All right. So I got Gosker. You have goal oriented. Anyone else in the race you think has any shot here?
Well, we touched on David of Athens, and I think he's interesting. I think Big Truz is a little interesting. I am a little bit worried about him distance-wise. I was all about him in the Indiana Derby, and he just didn't run a step. But he came back and ran very well going a mile.
He did,
in the Ellis Park Derby. Is he more of a miler? Maybe. And that's why I'm a little bit worried about him. But if he kind of, can run the mile and eighth decently enough, he's got a somewhat of a chance to hit the board, I think. But everybody else, though, I think we've kind of covered it. And I would prefer David of Athens over Big Truz for a long shot. Just FYI there.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree, actually. I don't – that last race was nice. The mile 16th or mile and eighth, but the mile 16th race he ran was not good. Now, it was so bad that you're like, he's got to be better than that. But, again, and that was – he did finish third in the Woody Stevens. That was impressive, but that was going 7 furlongs. I don't know. I'd be pretty surprised to see him do it here. I got the 9. You got the 6. Bieza certainly deserves to be the favorite here, and he will go off. Is there a price that you're looking at where he becomes playable for you, or are you kind of, no matter what the price is, you're still trying to beat him?
Yeah, I think I'll try to beat him unless something just wild happens, and I just don't think that'll happen. I just think he's going to be 7-5. I don't know. Like, if there's a world where he's like 3-1, then all of a sudden, yeah, I mean, you really start to think about it. But I just think realistically, he's going to go down. I mean, I don't think he's going to be like 4-5, right? But I do think 7-5. And, honestly, I just think if you want to take that price, I don't think it's just the worst thing you could do. I don't, but it's just not for me.
I mean, does it have any implications for you if he runs poorly, as far as who he's beaten or who he's been beaten by?
Yeah, I think the narrative can be spun that way. If he doesn't win, or say he runs really well and loses, maybe not so much. But if he's like third, beaten 3, yeah, I mean, I think people might go, I don't know, maybe he wasn't that good, and maybe, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I mean, I think there's a narrative that could be spun that way for sure. The flip side of it is, though, if he loses and it's Gosker or it's goal-oriented, we're like, well, yeah, they beat them as well. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't really know. I'm not personally going to worry about it much. I know what we've got in Sovereignty, and this race isn't going to throw me off Sovereignty. I'll say that for sure.
Yeah. No. All right. It'll be a fun one. We'll see how the implications look. I do think we're going to at least see 1 or 2 of these come out of this race and head to into the Classic. Whether or not they're legit contenders or not, that's to be seen. But I do think we will see several come out, or not several, one or two winner, maybe top two come out of this race and potentially run in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Good luck, everybody, in the Pennsylvania Derby. All right, let's head to the last one here, Princess Rooney. We'll go to Gulfstream Park on Saturday for race number 10, the Princess Rooney Stakes, Grade 3, 200K, 7 furlongs, fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. And it is a Breeders' Cup winning you're in for the filly mare sprint. And you got a field of 8 lined up here. Half of the field trained by Saffie Joseph. Now, Mystic Lake is going to run on the undercard here at Parx. That was confirmed by Saffie Joseph. So it is going to be scratched down to 7, meaning 3 Saffie Josephs in the race as well. Did you fall on the Archie bread, Halterman?
I did. Lone speed for me. I really think there's no other speed in this race. So I'm going to go number 2, Holland Ice, on top in this one. I'm skeptical they might scratch another one or two. I don't know why you would run Holland Ice and Claret Beret against each other. So I could see Saffie scratching another one as well and saving it for another day as well. So, but anyway, I am going to go number 2, Holland Ice, on top in this one. I think she goes gate to wire. Got beat last time out, but went awfully fast up front and didn't get that desired spot. I think she gets it in this spot.
Yeah, it was weird. Like I read some quotes because I was trying to get a feel for the race as far as, because I'm the same way. You go into it and you're like, what are we doing here? You know, like,
yeah,
who's going to run here? Who's not? And that's the kind of, you figure out, okay, Mystic Lake's not running. And then with Claire Beret, a horse that I've liked, this horse has only had one work since that ballerina, and it was obviously the ballerina was an absolute just disaster. Never ran a step really. And, only one work since. Kind of, to me, it's the horse where I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised that one scratches too. I'm not real sure. I guess that, enter a bunch and, if you have to scratch a few, then you still have a runner. But so that, yeah, to me, that'd be the one. I went with the 2 as well. I just, based on the I liked on form, and then also just kind of confirming with Saffie, it just seems like this is the horse he is the most excited about out of anyone that was in the race. And now, of course, Zayas is still on, but he gets the mount here, which is his kind of go-to rider as well. He hasn't really fared well at this distance. 5 starts, only 1 win, 1 second. But again, he hasn't ran at 7 furlongs in a minute. It was, the last race ran well. And, has ran well at Gulfstream Park these last 2 efforts. Has ran a total of 5 times and ran first twice and second twice. So I think he'll run well here, or she'll run well here, I should say, as I called it to him like 20 times there, I think. But Holland Ice, for me, it's a tough race, though. It's a tough in a sense. It's really hard to get too much of a feel on any of them.
No, it is, and it's not a race that's really going to have much of an impact on the Breeders' Cup either. No. It's always kind of been a random, like, when you're in, like, why are we doing this? Right? It's strange, right? But it's usually better than this, I would say. You know what I mean? Like, there's just not a lot in here. Let's say Holland Ice wins by 5 lengths. Are you excited to bet her at the Breeders' Cup? No, So it is what it is.
Now, CC won this race twice. Mm-hmm. Did CC win the Breeders' Cup or not?
She won it the year Baffert had a big favorite that didn't run a step, and CC won it. Yes, okay. She did win it one year. Yeah.
Yeah, that was 2021 and 22 that CC won the Princess Rooney, and of course, went to the Breeders' Cup. So, but to your point, like it's always been kind of a random race, and it's like it's on Pennsylvania Derby Day, and you're like, oh yeah, they're running. You never like the Princess Rooney. You just like never know when they're running it. It feels like. I mean, I know at the same time, but my point is like you just kind of forget about it. It's like, oh yeah, the Princess Rooney.
Yeah, I thought it was a little bit later in the year, but maybe I'm, like next week or the next week. I thought they used to run it, and I could be dead wrong on that as well. I'm not a history buff on the Princess Rooney. It's just it's a random one. Yeah, Cece though, that's a good call out to her. She was she's a pretty good horse.
Well, like when I'm looking at the past winners, so last year they ran it the same time, okay. But then the year before they ran it in early October. And then before that, it used to be in the summer.
That's right. They used to run the Gulfstream Park like sprint. I don't think that's what it was called. It was called something. And then they'd run this race. Wasn't it called like the Summit of Speed or something like that? The big day.
Oh yeah.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Okay.
So yeah, all these races used to be ran like, either in July, early July, late June, somewhere in there.
Is it the Smile Sprint? Is that a thing?
Yeah, that was
That's
it,
what
right?
it was.
Let me look at CC's race and the chart. That was yeah.
Because it seems like I got to look this up now.
I'm not sure. It was the Princess Rooney when CC won it.
Right. No, but I mean the male version of it. I think they used to call it the Smile Sprint, and I thought they would run that on the same day. But I could be off on that. But either way, I thought it was in the summer. It used to be in the summer. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, all that to be said, it's a very weird race. Yeah. Very weird. Let's see, Princess Rooney. Yeah, the Smile Sprint was the race before that.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Chance it ran second. All right. So there's a look at the race. We're both on our Arky Bread here, number 2, which, by the way, the highest earning Arky Bread of all time. Hall Nice, right?
Has to be, right? Is that for?
I think they announced that. Yeah, I think they announced that. I don't remember which. The horses won over $800,000. I'm pretty sure Hall Nice. They announced it like after one of those. If it won the Metrone or whatever that race is at Oaklawn. I think they did. I think they had said that, but I'm pretty sure I didn't make that up. But
also, the Smile Sprint is still in July. It looks like it's always been in either July or June. It still is. The COVID year they ran it in a different, but that doesn't count. And by the way, why I remember the Smile Sprint, Imperial Hint won that race in 2017, one of my favorite sprinters. So there you go.
That I guess maybe they're doing it because it's closer, like make it more Breeders' Cup relevant. I don't know.
Yes,
just a guess, but
I would say you're right. Yeah.
Sullivan Angel won the race last year, and she won the race the Breeders' Cup. So, I mean, I guess you have that going for you. But did Safi train Sullivan Angel too, or no? Maybe I'm making that up too.
Yeah, I guess I got to eat my words because they have done decent out of that, haven't they? So.
Well, that one was. I mean, CC. Yeah, I guess CC did. Yeah. Maybe you're just wrong.
I'm wrong. There you go. That's hard for people in this country to admit, but I just admitted it. I'm wrong.
It's the first guys you've witnessed history. Halterman's wrong.
Yeah. Right. First one to admit it as well. And in like 15 years, I feel like. Anyway, we're not getting into that. Christopher Maiello asked about Garhole, who was one of my favorite Arkansas breds ever. He earned $465,000. I looked him up here as we were talking.
Arkansas.
Yeah,
I gotta find out. If that horse only ran that much or had that much, then this one's got to be it.
Garhole, man, he went on a run there.
Man, Garhole. Well, yeah. Set the record for Hall and I set the record for the highest earning Arkansas bred female in March. And is current overall record holder as well. So
okay, she's got a little bit over 800,000, so she might be the first Arkansas bred millionaire. So we'll see if that happens.
That's right, Hall Nice in the Princess Rooney, guys. Cool name too.
Hall and Ice. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Not sure. Like you
sired. Hold on here. Who's sired?
Not sure she'll win the Breeders' Cup, but
Coal Front. Okay.
What?
Coal Front is the sire of Hall and Ice. Yeah.
Interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
Oddly enough, this horse was pretty good even before going to Safi Joseph. So
yes, yeah.
This horse has, and that's why it doesn't take a rocket science to figure it out, but that's why you don't see very many rich Arky breds because they don't run in big races. And this one has gone and ran in some decently sized purses, and not all of them has ran well, but has ran well in a good share of them. And
Yep.
And it doesn't hurt that the purses have been really good at Oaklawn too. So
Last big state bred horse to earn $1 million that I kind of remember. And I'm really specifically thinking about Arkansas, Iowa, and Oklahoma, because that's kind of where we live. Welder, Oklahoma bred, went over $1 million at Will Rogers Downs. That's the last one I can remember. There's probably other state breds that have done it in those 3 states after, but Welder's the last one I remember that did it.
Welder was a cool horse, man.
Very. Yep.
10-year-old horse too. I think that ran until he was 10, wasn't he?
Yep, he lived on a farm like 2 minutes from Will Rogers Downs, and now he's at Old Friends. I think he went to Old Friends Farm. So yeah, very cool. Millionaire, Oklahoma bred, gray horse, sprinter, and sprinted there at Remington and Will Rogers and Oaklawn a little bit for seemingly forever.
What's amazing is, like, this day and age, it's like, one race, right? I mean, and of course becomes a millionaire one time. In this day and age, you win one race. Welder earned $1.2 million in his career, took 27 wins.
He won 27 times.
27 for 44, bro.
God, what a legend. And another legend, friend of the show, Kelby Von Hemel. He was the one that put the shoes on Welder for most of his career, especially late in the career.
Made the difference. Made the difference.
Made the difference. Got him there. Got him over $1 million, I think. That's what we're going to
Wouldn't have been a millionaire without Kelby. I can guarantee you that. So
That's right. That's right.
That's all the time we have, guys. Check us out over our website at racingdudes.com for the free picks, premium picks, as well as that Pennsylvania Derby betting Bible. Again, the final version is available right now over on the website. It's listed everywhere, so if you can't find it, I'm not sure how to help you there. But it's available now. Again, the next betting Bible we do will be the Breeders' Cup. So what's going to happen is after this one's over, honestly, I'll probably get right to getting things set up for the Breeders' Cup betting Bible, and we'll start the pre-sale for that. So again, now is the time to become a premium subscriber, because we'll have all kinds of information headed into the Breeders' Cup and the Classic that will help you to cash more tickets there. So being a premium subscriber during like the Triple Crown season and especially the Breeders' Cup is always very, very helpful. And you can see everything on the website to kind of confirms that. So we're on Twitter at @racing_dudes, Instagram and Facebook. You can find all episodes of Blinkers Off right here on YouTube, or search for Blinkers Off on all your podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, everywhere, Amazon Music, anywhere you like to listen to your podcasts. We are there. Due to Bet was on earlier this week. Magic Mike, I always say, scheduled to be on Friday. It's a slower week. It is Pennsylvania Derby week, but it's a slower week, so you never know. The Will Magic have a baby in his hands bet is always fun to play as well.
That's right. Yeah.
I cashed last week, bro. I cashed.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It is a week-to-week thing. I don't know. I haven't heard from Magic about that show. I did hear through the grapevine Magic through a tantrum on air last night when it comes to Ass Downs up there in Canada. Evidently a very controversial disqualification. And Magic let him have it for what was seemingly a while on the telecast. I was not watching, but I did hear that he was upset. So,
has there been some retributions from the track?
He's probably fired today.
No,
I don't know.
I wish I could get footage of that.
And again, I wasn't watching. I got a message from two people actually that were watching. I was like, man, Magic's going crazy. And I said, well, what happened? Is this DQ. So I went and watched the replay, and he and everybody else was throwing a fit, and they were right. It was just it looked like the Zulu Kingdom, thing that happened at Saratoga. That's what happened up there. And it's just like, I don't know what to say anymore, guys. That's what it is. That's how it's going to go, I guess. So what are you going to do?
Hey, at least the silver lining to it, and I don't like it either, is that it's somewhat consistently being called now. Like, it's bullshit, but if you're gonna call it, you got to keep calling it.
Yep. And
yeah,
my preference would be don't start calling it, then you don't have to call it, right? That would be great if you never started it in the first place. But that's not where we're at, apparently. So
let me tell you, there is, as a dad with two, mine are older, I'm 6 and 9 now, but
Nice.
With going through those phases with both of them, there is 0.0% chance I would attempt what Magic is doing. Now, I don't know. I don't know I haven't asked him like if it's like a thing, like it's just like kind of a bit now, or if he actually has to do it. Like if he wants to do the show, he's got. I don't know. I wouldn't even try it. So I respect him for that, I guess, because there's no way, no chance, because I guarantee you, it would just be a disaster. So, and props to the baby. Baby stays nice and calm and sleepy. So that's always good too, because that's not always the case.
Well, the baby's listening to Magic and Mike. So.
He's listening to horse racing podcasts. So
Yeah.
what do you expect, right?
Baby's got a long life ahead of her. So.
Well, she, he probably tunes when Magic started talking about horses, probably tunes it out. So
Yeah.
like we all do.
Yep. Correct.
Who you got tonight's game? You think the Dolphins pull up an upset tonight?
No, it's a horrible game. I don't have anything. The Bills are going to win, but I don't really want to lay 12 points on a Thursday night. No bet for me. Bills should win, though. I mean, the Dolphins aren't pulling an upset. That much I know for sure.
I mean, when was the last time you saw a professional quarterback? Not like, I mean, in college, I could see how it would happen, but a professional quarterback talk to the press the week of their divisional matchup, by the way, and just sit there and talk and literally say, man, talking about Josh Allen, talking about Josh Allen, meaning Tua is talking about him saying, he just so many things he can do that I can't do, literally being like, there's so many things he can do that I can't do. It's amazing to watch. And it's like, I know he was trying to, like, he was saying, wanted to say nice things about him, but that was like, dude, you don't go on in public and be like, oh, he's such a better quarterback than I am. Even though it's true, it's totally true. But you would like to see your quarterback be like a little bit, hey, I think we have a chance.
That's an odd thing to do. I will definitely say that. That seems odd. I didn't see it, but that is odd for sure. Now, Rob says the Dolphins already had 7-0, so maybe they are going to pull the upset. I still doubt it, but yeah, that's odd. Tua's odd though. He's an odd guy. He's, they were just. I've never seen it. Well, I've seen it, but not often. An opening day, a team plays so bad up at Indy. They were just bad. Now Indy's decent, and they may have kind of surprised them a little bit, right? But last week, that at times they started to kind of look like they were going to be halfway decent, and then at times they just look like, wow, they're terrible. And New England was so bad they couldn't quite take the game away from them. They ended up winning, New England, but they should have won by a lot more at the end. I don't know. It was a really horrible game to watch.
Yeah, it looks like they basically got really good field position off the bat and, did somehow manage to go down and score. So 7-0. Have you or anyone seen, I haven't done the research to, I don't try to look into it research and for betting purposes in NFL until a few weeks go by. But like, I think with the new kickoff rules, you're seeing teams like they get the ball almost 50-yard line, it feels like every time, which has got to in turn increase scoring, which I know is what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it more high paced and fast and scoring and less boring. But is that in like changing the over and unders? Like it's got to be more points being scored, I would assume.
Yeah, I would assume so. I don't bet the over-unders hardly ever. So I don't really research it. I don't really know. I would imagine, yes, getting the ball 35-yard line consistently, I would imagine would make a huge difference. But I haven't done the research. So I say I don't bet that. I'm more, the sides for each team. But you would think when I just think about the scores of these games, it seems pretty high scoring. A lot of it, though, is like, the Bears can't stop anybody. The Giants can't. The Cowboys can't. Like, get it on the 15 or the 5 or the 35. Doesn't matter. They're not stopping you. So there's a lot of defenses out there that's like that as well.
Yeah, it's weird because it's just like the way they have it set up now. It just the kickoffs, like these teams are starting like on their own 40 now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's
No, I don't like it. But what are you gonna do?
All right, let's see it off here. Let's go. So we'll watch some Bills Dolphins. Dolphins are stop the game. They're up. They're winning. They're gonna win the game. So let's and this weekend you're heading to OU, right? That'd be good.
Yeah, heading back, was there for the Michigan game and had fun there. Got a big win. Now we play Auburn, another ranked team. That's going to be every week. We're playing a ranked team now until the end of the season. So at least right now. But it should be a good game. Auburn 3-0, we're 3-0. So yeah, should be good.
What time is that game?
2:30.
All right. Yeah, Arkansas's got a good game this weekend too. So
Arkansas really needs to win. I thought Arkansas played well against Ole Miss. They had a great chance, and they did in Arkansas and fumbled there. But to end the game, I think the quarterback looks better this year. I think they're a good team, but I don't know. They're another one. Every week, it's a really good team they have to play every single week. So there's no breaks.
Yeah, SEC, right? That's just a lot of good teams. So, all right, everyone, good luck this weekend with all your betting needs. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. Good luck this weekend, and good luck in the Pennsylvania Derby. See you guys.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Blinkers Off. Join our horse racing community at racingdudes.com and follow us on Twitter at racing_dudes. Want to make money betting horses? Bet with the Racing Dudes.